Thank you, Brian. And thank you for coaches for joining today. George, so let's get started here. Why did you build IndieVelo? What was your inspiration? What problem were you trying to solve?
Yeah, very much so. My background, I was a elite athlete when I was younger, but my day job was working with computer software, and I was obviously very interested in like the birth of online cycling, but saw that the existing products were more like spin classes, great for cardiovascular fitness, but they weren't cycling. I wanted the data that committed cyclists want. I wanted metrics, left right balance and torque and core body temperature and oxygen saturation. I wanted an experience that was like riding outdoors. Things like tactically interesting racing with wind and cornering and decision making that matters. Something that was accurate, precise, verified. That kind of gave me that reassurance that what I was seeing, both in myself and in others, was legitimate athletic performance. And also that kind of physiological cycling training, hard accelerations out of corners and the fatigue that induces, and not a spin bike. And then looking to the future, you know, I thought to myself, well, what if online cycling were an Olympic sport? What would that look like? How would it be credible? How would we ensure legitimacy, accuracy, performance verification? How would we ensure this was all built into a platform's DNA from day one? So I guess in short, I wanted a product that was built for committed athletes, built for coaches, and there wasn't one. And it was very clear that none of the other companies in this space was interested in doing these things. So instead of waiting around forever, I just went and built it.
Awesome. And I guess into that end, why Training Peaks? Like, how did you come to us, and what is it that made this such a great opportunity to partner together?
Yeah, well, one word, credibility. As a single person, I could only go so far, and it was always the case that I needed to partner with someone, and so I was, throughout, therefore, looking for a company with a long history of stability that shared that kind of same vision and values of taking performance seriously, building products that were designed from the ground up for committed athletes and coaches. And who better than Training Peaks?
Awesome. Cool. I think with that, Brian, we'll hand it back over to you.
Cool. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, George. Now we're gonna kind of jump into the demo portion of the webinar today. So for you all, I've just pulled up the Training Peaks virtual screen. Once you download the software on your computer, this is kind of gonna be what it looks like for you. And although most of you all are coaches, I wanted to clarify when you're logging into Training Peaks Virtual, you're going to want to be logging in with your Training Peaks athlete account information, so that username and password. So if you already have an account, you can just click the existing Training Peaks account, log in with that username and password, and that'll take you into the Training Peaks Virtual. If you need to create an athlete account, you just click the new Training Peaks account. You can fill in all your information, and that will generate both a Training Peaks athlete account and then allow you to access Training Peaks Virtual. So I have my account already set up here, so I'm going to log in and then basically take it into Training Peaks Virtual. So before we kind of get into the more coaching side of things, kind of wanted to bring this or just highlight this new feature we have, and it's kind of it's going to be such a useful tool for your athletes, as it's going to allow for their Training Peaks zones and threshold values to automatically sync over to Training Peaks Virtual. So no longer will you need to worry about whether the thresholds between Training Peaks and your indoor cycling platform are going to match, because we now have this automatic sync. So Training Peaks Virtual, my FTP is set differently than Training Peaks, and so as a result, it's going to prompt me to sync these new values. As an athlete, you have the ability to get this prompt every time there's a difference in values, or always sync the values. So I'm going to click sync, and now I know as an athlete that my threshold in Training Peaks is going to match Training Peaks Virtual, and then I'm going to be riding at the prescribed values that my coach set. So now, as you know, as that being said, if I'm an athlete and I just logged into the platform and I have a planned workout in TrainingPeaks that I'm going to execute on TrainingPeaks Virtual, the platform basically takes me right into the train portion of the hub, and it's going to have my prescribed workout in TrainingPeaks ready for me. One click of the button, I'm ready to go into the platform. So just kind of wanted to showcase this all for you coaches that you don't need to worry about your athletes' threshold settings not being available and accurate in TrainingPeaks Virtual. That automatic sync is going to prevent that. And it's just so easy for your athletes to log into the platform. I think I click 2 buttons and I'm already in my workout for this. So I'm just gonna jump into the world and get back out really quick. But yeah, once again to reiterate, as an athlete, it is super easy to execute the workout that my coach prescribed me in TrainingPeaks on TrainingPeaks Virtual. So now as we kind of go into the more coach side of things, I'll be shifting focus here into more, coach specific. And when it comes to TrainingPeaks Virtual for coaches, I think that the best option for you all is going to be setting up your custom team and your custom cycling kit for the platform. So what that's going to look like to start for you all is emailing virtual@trainingpeaks.com with your kit design, the name of your team, and the username or email of your athlete account in TrainingPeaks. I guess no need to remember this all right now. We'll email you at the end of this webinar kind of a getting started article for you all about kind of what this entails to get your kit and team set up. But just wanted to let you know that this is kind of a good first step is getting your team and custom kit set up. As of right now, it's a pretty quick turnaround. We're quoting coaches 3 to 5 business days once they submit all the information we need, and then we can get that kit and team in TrainingPeaks Virtual for you all. And finally, this is just gonna be a great way to help create community with your athletes. Allow you and your athletes to ride in the platform year round with your custom kit. Kind of make everyone feel like they're a part of a team, even though they're not in the same room with one another. So once that team is set up, kind of the next step for you all is going to be adding athletes to the team. So I went ahead and clicked the options button here in the top right corner, and you'll see the organize teams option. So this is going to be where you are able to add your athletes to the team. So I'll first open up. So here's my team name. Once your team is created and you log into the platform, you'll have access to organizing your team. So I'm going to click settings here, and you'll just be allowed to enter a description as well as your website link if you'd like. The one feature I'd want to call out here is the how to join option. So we currently have 2 options. We have invite only and send request. So invite only is going to be the option where you as the coach are going to search for athletes and add them to your team, from your end. The send request option means your athlete is going to find the team in our full list of teams in TrainingPeaks Virtual and send a request to you to join that team. So I guess for best practice, if you have a larger team, the send request option is generally better. It puts the onus on the athlete to reach out to you, and so you're not having to add tens, hundreds of athletes into your group. So what that would kind of look like from the athlete's end or your end, I guess, to start. Say we wanted the invite only option where you as the coach are adding athletes. You would click the members option, and we have 2 members already, but say I wanted to search for an athlete, we can start with an easy name like John Smith. And then, obviously there are a lot of options here, but once you have your athlete, it's them, you can click the add button, and that's going to add them to your team. Now, if you go the other option where your athlete is going to find your team, this would be done from their profile. So the athlete would click profile, active team, and then click view all teams. We have a nifty search button here where the athlete can search. So I'm going to search for the TrainingPeaks team. We'll see, TrainingPeaks here. I'm already joined to the team, but if I wasn't, there would be an option here saying send request to the team manager. They'd click that button and it would send a request to the team manager to ask or to allow me to join the team. And you'll see here, you got the athlete can see the fancy kit that they'd be riding in as part of the team. Pretty cool, sleek setup there. So that's going to be the whole team option, managing and adding athletes. As you can add an athlete, you can also remove an athlete if that needs to be the case. But once your team is set up, kind of the next step there is going to be managing and creating a custom event. In TrainingPeaks Virtual, we have quite a few options in terms of an event, but to go ahead and organize one of those, you'd go back to that options tab, hit organize events, and then click add new. So when it comes to creating a new event, you can title it whatever you want. So I believe today's Thursday. So for this demonstration, I'm going to do a group workout. So that means everyone's going to be doing the same ride. So call it a Thursday tempo, set the time and date. You can enter a description, whatever maybe more description about the event, what to expect for the athlete. But as you'll see here, the type is going to be where you can select, the type of event that you're doing. So we have a few race options, and then we also have group ride and group workout. So group workout, I'm going to click here. You can choose the field size, you can choose the route, whatever you want. Kind of take some time to get, used to all the routes and ride them all and kind of know what's best for you and the athletes. But as you said, you can choose that. And then I'll come down here to the workout option, which is where you'll be able to select the workout that you want everyone in the group to be doing. So I think the easiest option to get the workout that you want the athletes to do is to put that on your athlete's TrainingPeaks calendar, your personal athlete account. We have quite a few pre-made workouts for you here, but all the way at the end is going to be the workout that is on my TrainingPeaks calendar. So I can click that button and you'll see, the time, the TSS score, and that's going to be kind of the workout that all the athletes are going to be doing. A lot more customization available for you all throughout this window. I do want to point out the rubber banding strength feature. So that's going to allow your group to basically ride as one. So the rubber band feature basically says if someone rides off the front and is, riding at a higher wattage, the rubber band strength is going to be pulling them back into the group. And then vice versa, if someone's riding at a lower wattage than the group, that rubber band strength is going to be pulling them back to the middle of the group. So this is a good way to just make sure everyone's kind of riding together and no one kind of gets lost or felt, on their own when it comes to the workout. Once again, a few more customization options here. And then the final feature I want to touch on is the access code. So the access code is going to be kind of allow you to make it more of a private event. So if you enable this, that basically means the athlete is going to need the access code or the custom link to join the event. So I'll click the generate button here. We have our custom access code and we can click schedule and you'll get this link here that I think is going to be the best option for you to distribute to your athletes. Whether that's in TrainingPeaks in a workout or a note, or maybe you have an email chain or a Slack channel with all your athletes, however that is, I would copy that link, send it over to them, and then they can click on that to basically get added into the TrainingPeaks, the group event. And what's great during this group event, the workouts, despite doing a workout, you can still be talking with your athletes via the chat function. So good way to communicate with your athlete as a coach. You as the coach don't personally need to be in the workout. You can choose the spectate option and still be communicating with the athletes. So I think that's a good way to just, although everyone's still riding together and in different rooms, you can still chat to kind of make it feel like you're all together. I guess one final note when it comes to the events, coaches maybe often do a recurring event option. And while we don't necessarily have the recurring event functionality, we do have kind of a quick workaround to create this, recurring event. So we've already added the event we just did. And so now we can click check and edit. And that's where we're going to be able to edit our, Thursday tempo ride we just did. So what we can do is click copy. And then we basically just change the date of that and then change the workout if we want. So that would be the best way to kind of go ahead and make a recurring event without, actually necessarily having this exact feature. So you change the date to a week from now or whenever you want. You can change the workout if you'd like, and then, adjust any of these features that fit your needs. So that's kind of the creating an option team, creating a custom event for your athletes. Once again, it's just a great way to keep this community, get athletes riding together. One of the bigger groups on the platform did a group FTP test a few weeks ago, which I think is a pretty nifty option. FTP tests aren't the best, but when you get to do that with your teammates, I think it probably helps a little bit in terms of pushing yourself. So a lot of options there, and I think it's a great way to just keep your athletes engaged. So now that you've kind of gotten your team set up, you've played in the waters of creating a custom event, I kind of wanted to show you what I touched on at the beginning and how it would look like for an athlete when they have a custom workout in on their TrainingPeaks calendar that gets sent over to TrainingPeaks Virtual. So as I mentioned, it automatically shows up in the scheduled workout option. I just click this to open it up. Once you're in the workout settings here, you'll have the ability to choose the route. And I guess the most important is going to be the resistance mode. So erg mode is going to be, the prescribed wattage that you set in Training Peaks is going to be what they ride at. We have the fixed option, which means if you're on a flat road, that's essentially how your resistance is going to be. So you need to shift gears to go harder, to ride, faster or slower. And then we have the terrain option, which matches the world. So as you ride uphill, the power is going to be harder. As you ride downhill, it's going to be a little easier. So I'll click OK and get into my virtual world. When it comes to device pairing, the ideal scenario is having a smart trainer. TrainingPeaks Virtual is compatible with most new age smart trainers, but it's not required. So if your athlete just has a power meter and an old school trainer, that's great. They can connect their power meter and still execute their planned workout on TrainingPeaks Virtual. So I'll click OK into the world. And that's going to basically throw me into my workout in TrainingPeaks Virtual. As George alluded to, when it comes to the virtual world, accuracy and data is at the forefront. It's top notch. It's, your athletes and you don't have to worry about, getting bad data or, just not having a good overall experience in the virtual world. So this is what it's going to look like in the, virtual world for my workout. You'll see kind of on the bottom here is the workout in total. You'll see the laps and the actual prescribed wattage here in the left corner, as well as the ride summary. In the middle here is going to be kind of your real-time data. What's so great about TrainingPeaks Virtual is all this view is customized. So as an athlete, as George was touching on, the core body temperature, torque, all these values can be thrown into this view. Mine's pretty, I guess, clean and not too busy at the moment. But two things I did want to call out were first the lap averages. So this lap average feature is great for anyone doing intervals on the platform. I guess a feature could be if you give your athlete, a 10-minute low cadence interval and you want them averaging less than, 65 RPMs, as the athlete's doing that interval, they can see their real-time average cadence here. So they know that they're averaging, what you prescribed instead of just having to guess based on the values they're seeing on the screen. An additional feature I like is, so this is going to be the secondary data option field here, but I included to add my bike power meter to the view here. And that's going to basically allow me to compare the power from my smart trainer to my bike's power meter to make sure, if there is a variance in power, I kind of know that when it comes to riding indoor versus outdoor. So that's just a great feature for any athlete who's riding a smart trainer and and as a power meter on their bike. It's just a good way to compare and know that when you're riding, when you head outside, kind of how that wattage relates to what you've been doing indoor. So as I mentioned, this whole view is fully customizable, and that can be done by clicking the menu button here, then going to options, UI settings, and then the dashboard. So this is going to be the primary data here. So you'll see, heart rate, cadence, power, kind of the data I've chosen to have. But if I click into one of these, you'll see just how many available data options we have for your athletes. It's pretty insane. And, I think we've brought up core temperature a few times, but if you have an athlete who's doing, an indoor session where they kind of are focused on, heat stress, they can connect their core temperature sensor right to TrainingPeaks Virtual so they can see their core temp in real time and kind of get a sense for, as they're riding, they want to get in that desired heat zone. They can lock that in, see that in TrainingPeaks Virtual, and they're good to go. The secondary option is kind of where I brought up having my secondary power meter connected, just so I can see that in comparison to my what's the word? My indoor trainer. And so once again, you can add more values if you'd like. You can build it out, quite a few options here, a lot of customization. So your athlete and you, when you're riding, you get the data that you want to see, and you're not just stuck with this, view that can't be changed. A few other things I wanted to touch on when it comes to the UI settings. We do have the ability to adjust the world view. So this virtual world may not be for everyone, and maybe you just like to look at a dark screen when you're riding your interval session. You just want to see your numbers. I basically just turn the world view off there, and now you just get this blank screen with your power numbers. It's you and the power. So that can be a good option for you if you're not, keen on the virtual option and you just want a simple view. So once again, that was options, UI settings, then the world. So I'll turn that back on. And then the one final one is going to be incognito mode. So I went to the general tab here and I'm going to, incognito mode is already enabled, but what's that's going to allow you to just basically kind of hide your name when you're training. So if you want to just be solo, you don't want anyone knowing that's you riding, you can enable that. So you're kind of just on your own, doing your own thing. So that's going to be kind of it for the demo. As I said, the theme for all of this is customization. You can customize your experience to fit your needs, and so you're not kind of stuck in this view that doesn't necessarily suit you. And once again, tons of data options, so you can get all the data you want to see. So one final thing I wanted to touch on in the hub options, and that is the pace ride. So as a coach, I think this could be a valuable tool for your athletes. Say you want them to do a steady ride indoors, and I think a lot of coaches or a lot of athletes don't like doing, a structured, 2 hour zone two ride in the virtual world. So what we have are these pace rides where your athlete can go ahead and find their desired wattage for the ride. They can click that, and then I'll click the spectate option here. But they basically get entered into the virtual world, and they'll just be riding with a group of people riding that same effort. You don't need to worry about people attacking or something along those lines. You just get a nice, smooth, steady ride with other people. So as you said, shared pain's half the pain. So when you can get in a group ride with people riding your likability, it's just an easier option to get a longer, steady ride done. So with that being the case, I think that's it for the demo. I hope that was helpful. I know it was probably a lot of information, and I don't expect you all to remember that right away, but we do have quite a bit of help articles. But for now, it looks like there are quite a few questions, so I wanted to, maybe get those started. And if there are any questions, Andrew would love to hear them.
Hey, Brian. Our first question from Neil is, would it be possible to have an indoor FTP setting or variable FTP settings such as TT bike, road bike, etc., at different FTPs that could be selected for a given TrainingPeaks virtual workout?
That's a good question. So right now, we don't have the platform doesn't have the ability to have, I guess, multiple FTPs depending on the bike or something you're riding. You can always adjust your FTP in your profile. So if you click profile and then my profile, you have the FTP setting that you can go ahead, and set if you're doing a TT bike ride and you want to adjust your FTP to that, or if you're on your road bike and you have a higher FTP, you can adjust it there. But at this time, there isn't the option to have kind of multiple FTPs stored within TrainingPeaks Virtual.
Great. Next, we have, will we be able to set up an event with one of our own workouts?
Exactly. Yeah, you sure can. And that's kind of what I went through in the demo. So this Medio Torque butt workout is currently on my TrainingPeaks calendar. And that's kind of what I prescribed for myself today. And when I went into the option to organize an event, I basically chose that as my workout, as the where is it? As the workout. So that's all the way at the bottom here as the Medio Torque option. You can also upload workouts directly into TrainingPeaks Virtual, kind of on your computer's TrainingPeaks Virtual folder. But I think the easiest option is to add that desired workout that's in your TrainingPeaks account onto your athlete calendar, and then it's going to appear in TrainingPeaks Virtual as a available option for you to use that as a group workout.
Awesome. Next up from Aaron, we have, does the coach have the ability to see the cyclist's data during the ride?
That's a good question. I guess George, maybe if you want to
I
dive
can
in on
answer
that.
that. Yes, absolutely. So if the coach wants to spectate a ride, they can watch and then select the different riders and look at all their data in real time.
Cool. Is there an option, this is from Kale, is there an option for voice chat during the ride?
No voice chat at the moment. It's going to be strictly text. So yeah, that would kind of be the only option at the moment, is to type on your computer or your phone during the group ride.
Okay. There are quite a few more questions that just came in the last couple of minutes. we could just have a second to mark a couple of these as to be answered live, and because some of them we're just typing answers to. So just 1 second here.
Yeah, all good.
Another question from Neil here. Will data shown like core temp and SMO2 that can be seen, selected, viewed in TrainingPeaks Virtual eventually be included in the uploaded fit file and viewable on TrainingPeaks in the near future?
So
Yes, that's absolutely the intention to add that.
Yeah. I think there's a few others here, and I'd love to get to typing answers for all of these with Frank and Chelsea. I don't think any other were marked for live answering.
awesome. Yeah, and I think that's good timing. We're coming up on 9:30 here.
Cool.
So yeah, once
I'll
again,
also I was just going to say, for anyone who has questions, please reach out to virtual@trainingpeaks.com if you have additional like support related questions, and we'd love to help you.
yeah. And yeah, just a quick note before that. We do have a coaches group ride at 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. That's what, in 2.5 hours. So
Yeah.
we'd love to have you all out there, and that could be another opportunity to ask some questions. And then as we were kind of talking about, that now that you kind of learn more about TrainingPeaks Virtual, we kind of have one more poll on the screen for you all, and that's going to be kind of what features are you most excited about using going forward for you and your athletes. And while you're all are filling that out, once again, we just want to say thank you for joining. As Andrew mentioned, if you do have questions, please contact virtual@trainingpeaks.com. That's also going to be the same email to get your team and your custom kit started. We are going to follow up to this webinar via email with you all with kind of the recording of the webinar, as well as some help article to kind of get you started, as well as what we call our user voice forum. So any and all feedback you have about the platform or any feature requests, like for, I think there was the question about, voice chat in the group rides, maybe throw that in our user voice forum that we'll be sending to you to kind of, just so we can put it on our team's radar, and, ideally in the future, we can, prioritize those sort of feature requests. So with that being the case, I think we are all set, and really appreciate your time. Hope this was helpful, and we can't wait to see you all out in the virtual world of TrainingPeaks Virtual.